and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is eyelid. 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 The eyelid is a part of the body. The eyelid is the cover for your eye. So when you close your eyes, this piece of skin that comes over the top of your eye is called your eyelid. This lid is like the lid of a pot, but for your eye. Here's an example. I have a twitch in my eyelids. I have a twitch in my eyelids. I have a twitch in my eyelids. Eyelash. 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 An eyelash is the very, very small hair that is at the end of your eyelid. It's also under your eye as well. So these very, very small hairs are called eyelashes. Here's an example. There's an eyelash hair in my eye. There's an eyelash hair in my eye. There is an eyelash hair in my eye. Facial hair. Facial hair. Facial hair. Facial hair refers to any hair that grows on the face. So usually men have more facial hair than women, but women also have very, very fine facial hair. We use this word for both men and women's facial hair. It can mean very, very dark hair and very dense hair, like a beard or a mustache, or it can also mean like the very, very fine hairs that are hard to see on some people's faces. Here's an example. Facial hair begins growing in a person's teen years. Facial hair begins growing in a person's teen years. Facial hair begins growing in a person's teen years. Tongue. 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 Tongue has a very interesting spelling, but we don't pronounce it with that G-U-E sound at the end. It's tongue. So please make a note of this interesting spelling and pronunciation difference. The tongue is the part of the body that is this muscle inside the mouth, like this, that we use to eat and drink with, and that we use to pronounce sound. So I can't talk and show you my tongue at the same time, but it's that muscle inside your mouth. Here's an example. Frogs use their tongues to catch food. Frogs use their tongues to catch food. Frogs use their tongues to catch food. Taste bud. Taste bud. Taste bud. A taste bud is a tiny, tiny, so small spot on your tongue that allows you to taste different flavors, like sweet, sour, salty, spicy. These tiny, tiny things are on the tongue. Here's an example. The taste buds are located on the tongue. The taste buds are located on the tongue. The taste buds are located on the tongue. Nostril. 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 A nostril is the hole in the nose. So we have two nostrils. We have one on the left and one on the right. We use this word nostril often when we need to talk about a problem, like when we have a cold and we can't breathe. We might say our nostril is clogged. Here's another expression. Left nostril. Left nostril. Left nostril. Thigh. 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 The thigh is part of the leg. So the thigh part of the leg is the part between your knee and your hip. It's usually a larger part of your leg than the lower part of your leg. So this refers to the muscle and this general part of your body. Here's an example. The socks went up past his knee to his thigh. The socks went up past his knee to his thigh. The socks went up past his knee to his thigh. Calf. 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 Your calf is the lower part of your leg. So the thigh is the upper part between the knee and the hip, and your thigh is the part between your knee and your ankle. So that smaller muscle that goes toward your foot is called your calf. Here's an example. His calf muscle hurt below the knee. His calf muscle hurt below the knee. His calf muscle hurt below the knee. Toenail, toenail, toenail. Your toenail is just like your fingernails at the end of your fingers, except on your toes. So this same part that we have on our hands that sometimes we paint with colors is just what we have the same word for on our feet, but we use toenail instead of fingernail. Here's an example. The broken toenail turned blue and fell off. The broken toenail turned blue and fell off. The broken toenail turned blue and fell off. Heel, heel, heel. Your heel is the back of your foot and the bottom of your foot. So when you put your foot inside a shoe, your heel is the part that is on the bottom of the shoe at the very back. So sometimes our heel can feel very rough or very coarse. Here's an example. He rocked backwards onto the heel of his foot. He rocked backwards onto the heel of his foot. He rocked backwards onto the heel of his foot. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the word that means the cover for your eyes? Eyelid. Eyelid. And how to say the tiny, tiny hairs at the end of your eyes. Eyelash. Eyelash. What about the expression for hair that grows on the face? Facial hair. Facial hair. Do you remember how to say the word for the muscle that is inside our mouth? This one. Tongue. Tongue. Let's try the expression for the tiny, tiny spots on our tongue that allow us to experience flavors. Taste bud. Taste bud. What about the word for the hole in your nose? Nostril. Nostril. Now, let's see if you remember how to say the part of the leg that's at the top of the leg between your knee and your hip. Thigh. Thigh. Another one. What about the word for the part of your leg that's at the bottom of your leg between your knee and your ankle? Calf. Calf. Do you remember how to say the word for the part of your toe that's at the very end and is covered in the same material as your fingernail? Toenail. Toenail. And finally, do you remember how to say the word that means the bottom and the back of your foot? Heel. Heel. Well done.